This is Colm McGuigan for IFLTV. Delighted to be joined. Delighted to be joined by Leonard Ellerbe and Eddie Hearn. This is an iconic moment because I feel like your guys' kind of beef started on IFL at one point.
It's probably because of you.
It's before my time.
What fuckers do is you put up a little headline and no one watches the interview, they just read the headline. Massive beef, Hearn slams Ellerbe. Do you know what I mean? And then
is this the first time you two have actually met, as in spoken maybe?
No, we actually sat down and had coffee. It was some years ago.
James the Gal Badu.
Yeah. That was some years ago.
Talk to me about that coffee date though, because obviously it didn't go too well because then you started all the beef.
No, we actually talking about doing what him and Frank just did.
Yeah, 5
Yeah. We actually talked about that. It was his idea, and I was like, I was with it. It just didn't come to fruition.
Was there ever actually a real hatred, Eddie, between you and Leonard? Because a lot of people online will look at it and look at you guys going back and forward and think that there was.
Listen, the best way to describe it is this. I said to my dad once, probably like a year or so ago, I said, Dad, when you were promoting, if I was around, what would you think of me? And he would say, I would want to fucking stick this straight on your chin, you fucking annoying little, you know what I mean? So that's what people think about me. When you meet me, I think my opinion is you actually get on all right, but a lot of it is bravado, a lot of it is ego, and a lot of it is trying to win. And I said earlier in the interviews, like, I can't come into the US and just tip a toe and not try and ruffle feathers. I'm here to try and have an impact with the business, and I think we've done a good job. Probably haven't taken the #1 position like I just anticipated, because that's my mentality. And these guys are also competitive and they want to fight. Do you know what I mean? They don't want anyone to come in. They think they're #1. We think we're #1. That is good for the sport, trust me. Because if he didn't annoy me and I didn't annoy him, we wouldn't bother. We get a little bit complacent. Puts the fire in your belly.
And that's so true. It's never been personal. It's just business at the end of the day. And I've said in many interviews, he's come to, think he's going to take over, and it's like that ain't happening. And a lot.
How do you rate so far Eddie's work in the US, Leonard?
Oh no, he's done a good job. He's done a good job. He's understanding the marketplace better and the fighters better, and he's kind of changed his thought process. But it takes time. I mean, we've been doing this shit for countless years. You can't just come in and think that you're going to take this guy and build him into as a star. It's a process. It's a process for anybody.
Obviously, you've got your guy, Tank. He's got his guy now, SHAKUR. If that fight was to happen, how do you think it goes?
Tank all day. None of these guys can beat Tank. None of them.
I'm one of Tank's biggest fans. I think he's brilliant. But I think SHAKUR might be unbeatable. But I know, his IQ is on another level. Tank is a monster, right? But for me, as I said to Leonard, I don't think there's anybody around 135. I like Andy Cruz. He's got a long way to go. But SHAKUR is the one. I think he gives Tank the best fight. I believe he can win that fight. And I believe that's a massive fight. But I said, Tank does huge numbers. SHAKUR, his fire's been dampened by people that didn't want to tell everyone he does good numbers. We spoke to the Liberty Arena in Newark. He'd done a great gate there. He had the record-breaking audience for ESPN in 2024. No one wants to say it. When those two come together, I believe that is a massive fight. How
likely is it, Leonard, that you think we'll see that fight in the next 12 months?
I wouldn't put a timetable on it, but SHAKUR is definitely a top fighter in all of the sport. They happen to be in the same weight class. It's inevitable for those two to come together.
When you two are standing here talking, so civil, you're able to talk. Do you think this week, maybe at some point, you'll talk about potentially working together?
We'll talk whenever there's an opportunity.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like, if there's a fight to be made, I believe it'll get made. And I think that's important, because sometimes when it's just online, backwards and forward, I said, I don't really dislike anyone. Oscar De La Hoya winds me up a little bit sometimes, because you know what it is, yeah? You say all that. He's not really been like, Oscar's been like non-stop, right? It's a little bit snidey. I would rather you come up to me and stick it on me and say, I don't fucking like you. But
You need a matchmaker, right? I'm here.
Who wins that, Roberto?
I got a draw. The Bud, my good man.
But in terms of Oscar, why do you think that both of you kind of have a bit of a dislike for Oscar?
Yeah, but let's see with Leonard's not like, I think he's about it. Oscar's will come up to me and hug me, and I'll just think, like, in my opinion, he doesn't want to work with anybody, Oscar. Right. That's what I believe, right? And, you know, he spends his whole life slating Canelo Alvarez, where he should be pushing his own fighters. He's got a big platform, this Clapback Thursday or whatever it is. Talk about Zepeda, talk about Zurdo Ramirez, talk about, well, Jaime Munguia's left him, talk about whatever. But you're going on about Canelo Alvarez. Like, you know, I don't know. But he's not really my cup of tea at the moment, Oscar De La Hoya. I've got my new mate, Leonard, anyway.
You two are the best of friends. Now, normally in yesteryear, I probably would have asked you to do a little face-off. But just a final one from me. If you're making a fight together in the next 12 months, other than Shakur and Tank, who would you like to see one of your guys face, Leonard?
I don't know. There are a lot of good fights out there to be made, and you just take one day at a time, and whatever fights make sense.
Eddie, anything springs to your mind?
Yeah, loads. I mean, I like Jesse Rodriguez against the unified champion at 118 pounds. Fernandez, just won in Japan. That's a great fight. Let's, you know, obviously we're talking to Leonard now, but also Louis de Cubas. He's been a good piece for me, because sometimes over the Wilder stuff, didn't fall out with Al, but we had a little bit of that. And Louis's been a good piece in the middle. But if we can all keep talking, I feel like there's fights to be made. And I think that, you know, the growth of the zone has also been good for us and also good for boxing. Like they're a powerful platform now. And if we can have that cross promotion, if Amazon and the zone say, yeah, we're happy to have this on both platforms, it's easier to make the fights.
Well, thanks for your time, guys. Appreciate it.
Cheers, mate.